Today I'm taking a look at A Silent Voice, or Koe no Katachi. Originally starting in 2013, however the volumes were not released in English until I think around 2015, late 2015. This is Yoshitoki Oima's second publication. I would say it's her most popular. However, her current serialization, To Your Eternity, is currently enjoying its first anime season, so this one may not be considered as popular by some. No major spoilers in this one, but I will be going over some plot points. Silent Voice tells the story of Yosha Ishida, a relatively normal school kid, and his relationship with Shoko Nishimiya. Both are pictured in the front of every volume, and I like how the image itself kind of wraps around the volume. So you can see they're in an elementary school classroom. This is probably like the gap or the wall itself between the hallway and the inside of the classroom, which is quite nice, and that's repeated over all the volumes. So the series concludes in 7 volumes, so it's actually nice and short, and so hopefully it's not too expensive to purchase and not too expensive to invest your time in either. I just want to show you the second volume as well, which is pretty much the same. So you've got a picture of Shoya and Shoko standing on a bridge this time, and as you wrap it round, you can see the edge of the bridge, and then you kind of see a sideways view of the bridge and the scenery over there, which is pretty nice. And every volume has a nice front cover color page, and then this inside is actually just the back of the book illustrated with the table of contents as well. And I think volume 1 is the only one that has several colored pages, maybe 3 or 4 pages of a story that are colored as well. So the first volume tells the story of Shoya and his life as a young boy, spending his time playing video games with his friends, being mischievous and occasionally getting into fights. And to be honest, he's a pretty horrible kid. Shoko transfers to the school as she was previously bullied from her previous school for being deaf. Unfortunately, Shoya picks up what Shoko had left behind and teases her every opportunity that he gets, tripping her up, shouting at her behind her back, stealing her hearing aids. Some other kids join in, but most of the time it's just Shoya. And to be honest, some of the bullying moments are a little bit triggering for me, giving me a little bit of PTSD. But like I said, he's a horrible kid. At the end of the volume, the two part ways, and we see a time skip of a 17-year-old Shoya who's now a former shell of himself, if you would. He has no friends, no one really talks to him at school, and he's become a lot more timid to the point where he can't even look at people in the eye. His vision depicts pretty much everybody with a cross on their face, which shows that he's trying to distance himself from everyone. He also stares down at the floor all the time when talking to people. Shoya tracks down Shoko and tries to atone for his past actions. And in the next 6 volumes, Shoya does his best to give Shoko the childhood that she was kind of missing out on, and he feels he probably took away from her. And despite what happened in the first volume, we see a heartwarming friendship blossom. We have a host of supporting characters that give us comic relief and someone for the characters to confide in. However, there are a lot of heavier moments, like the relationship between Shoko and her mother and her sister, which kind of filter through to Shoya, and it can make for some pretty awkward moments. We have previous schoolmates that are reintroduced, and that can sometimes really shake things up even more. We also get a few new characters that bring an outside perspective on everything. I've heard and read some people say that this is a love story between Shoya and Shoko, but for me it's less about love between these two and more about loving yourself, forgiveness and acceptance. Everyone has a part of themselves that they dislike or a past that they wish they could forget, but it's kind of how we deal with it that makes us who we become. Overall, it is actually a sad read, though it's somewhat of a happy sad, if that kind of makes sense. Almost every character shows some form of depression or remorse, which kind of makes everything a little bit more compelling when you watch everyone move forward. No matter what we see in other people, we're all broken, and I think we all kind of just, need to treat each other a little bit more kindly. Now, my first encounter with A Silent Voice was the movie back in 2017, and I think I purchased the manga around 2018, which was around the time that I was packing everything away because I didn't have much space. I rewatched the movie again after reading the manga for the first time, and to be honest, I can't really choose which one I would prefer. The book definitely explores more of each character and their connection with Shoya and Shoko, who wouldn't be who they are or where they are without a lot of the supporting cast. I personally became more attached to some of the secondary and tertiary characters in the manga than the film, because their stories and experiences were actually explored a little bit more. Now, the film skips a few plot points, and one of the big ones that it misses out on is the movie that the kids make. Though this event, not hugely important to the overall story, does serve as a connection that holds everyone together. Everyone's kind of have their own roles in the movie, going back and forth, and within that you get to see loads of different character interactions. However, without it, it leaves some of the characters feeling a little flat, and it just leaves Sawyer and Shoko to carry the whole movie. That being said, the music is what really carries the movie, to be honest, and it definitely makes up for the lack of character engagement. That being said, both are very emotional, though I didn't cry whilst reading the manga. I did bawl my eyes out the first time, and almost just as much the second time round as well. And to be honest, I think the music really does take on a big part of that. It's pretty hard to say which one to experience first. Maybe the movie, because the voice acting and the music and the visuals are so great. Kyoto Animation, they're renowned for their beautiful work that they do in their movies and their TV series as well. But the character depth is so much more deeper in the manga, and I don't think that is reflected very well in the movie. So if you're into more character development and, you know, more intertwining connections with all your characters, to kind of not necessarily bring the world alive, but it kind of brings the characters alive a lot more. The manga is definitely the more superior, and it also has a lot of really cool facial expressions, which I like. There are some feel-good moments in this, but yeah, I would say just maybe don't read or watch it if you're a little bit too fragile. I mentioned before I have a lot of shonen. I'm just looking at my bookshelf now, and I feel like I need to buy a fair bit more shoujo and general just romance and maybe slice of life manga. It's really nice to sit down. This one's probably not what I'm talking about right now, probably isn't a good example, but it's just nice to sit down and not always read about fighting and overpowering people or politics. Sometimes nice just to, you know, sit down, relax, and read some Iyashikei. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.